Hi, and sorry getting back to you so late. We can go over it tomorrow and we'll make more time for it. You had 5 problems on division with decimals, and your first problem is going to be 35 or 34 and 86 hundredths divided by 12. 12 is going to be my divisor, and I'm going to have my dividend at 34 and 86 hundredths. Remember, the first thing that I said that you're going to do is bring up your decimal. So draw an arrow because it goes straight up. After that, you can forget about it. So I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 12 can go into 3? It's 0. How many groups of 12 can go into 34? And I know that 12 times 5 equals 60. So that's going to be, oops, what did I do? Well, way too big. So let me go to 12 times 2, which will be 24. That's the closest that I'm going to get to it. And so it's 12 times 2 is 24. Subtract that out. That leaves me with 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. And again, pretend like that decimal doesn't exist anymore. And you're going to just go ahead, because it's removed now, because now you put it into your quotient. Bring down your 8. Okay, again, I know that 12 times 5 is 60. If I doubled my 12 times 5 and made that 12 times 10, that's 120. And so I'm looking at here, that's too big. So I'm going to reduce that now to 12 times 9. I know that 2 times 9 is 18, carry my 1. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 1 is 10. And so I will put my 9 right above my 8 because that doesn't change. And so 12 times 9 is 108. I'm going to subtract that out, and that is 0, and I'm bringing down my next number at 6. Well, 12 cannot go into 6, so that leaves me with 0, and I have a remainder then of 6. Now remember to check your work. You're doing the inverse, and the inverse means the opposite. So the opposite of division is multiplication. And so now I'm going to multiply 2 and 9/10 or 9/100 times 12, because this was my quotient. This is my divisor, and I'll be looking for my dividend, which is my new product because I'm multiplying. 2 times 0 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. I'm done with my 2's. I immediately cross that out, and I put a 0 here to know that I am done. Now I'm going over to my 1's. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I'm going to add those up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 8 plus 0 is 8. 9 plus 5 is 14. And 2 plus 0 is 2. Now I have my remainder. I'm going to add carried my 1. There we go. That's why it wasn't making any sense. I went for a long pause because it was 14, then I forgot to carry. Way too late. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Now I'm going to add my 6. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 and 3. Now I have 2 decimal spots here. So that we're going to, if they're to the 2 decimal place values to the right, I'm going to start here on the far left, right past my 1's place value, and I'm going to move my decimal to the left 2 spots. And my answer now is 34 and 86 hundredths, which is what I originally picked out here. So my answer is correct at being, so my answer is 2 and 9/10 or 9/100, which is fine, with a remainder of 6. Okay, and there's my answer there. Number 2, I'll leave it like that. That way it gives you time to pause it, and then you're able to see the full picture here. There you go. All right. Number 2. Number 2 is 634, 634 and 1/10 divided by 10. Again, I'm going to have my 10, 634 and 1/10. 10 goes into 6 0 times. So now how many times does it go into 63? 6 times, because 10 times 6 is 60. I'll subtract out because I need to reduce my dividend. So 3 minus 0 is 3. 6 minus 6 is 0. Now I'm finished with this one. I'm now here. Up again, I'm going to bring up my decimal there. I'm going to forget about it because I've already moved it up. And I'm going to bring down this 4. So how many groups of 10 go into 34? Well, 3, because 10 times 3 is 30. I'm going to subtract out again. Leaves me with 4. Now I'm going to bring down my 1. How many groups of 10 go into 41? The answer is 4. 10 times 4 is 40. Subtract out again, and now my remainder is 1. So my answer is 63 and 4/10 with a remainder of 1. To check your work, you simply do the inverse. And so I'm going to have, I'll do it right here, 63 and 4/10 times 10. Again, anything multiplied by 0 is 0, so I'm going to leave that 0 out here. Bring that down. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 6 is 6. Now keep in mind, I only have one place value. I'm going to add in my 1. I have 1, 4, 3, and 6. I only have 1, so I'm right here. This is where I will always start. And I'm going to move my place value over one spot. And you can see that my answers matched. And my answer is correct. So my answer is 63 and 4/10 with a remainder of 1. Okay, give you a chance to pause it if you need to. Moving on to problem number 3. Number 3 is 4 and 26/100 divided by 2. Here I have 2, 4 and 26/100. Again, routine-wise, let's get in that habit where I have my decimal, draw my arrow straight up, put my decimal there, and now I'm ready to forget about it. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. Multiply that out. 2 times 2 equals 4. Subtract out. Always reducing because I got to make my dividend smaller and smaller till it becomes less than that 2 or 0. So we're trying to get it as close. So this becomes a 0. I'm bringing down my next number. 2 can go into 2 one time because 1 times 2 equals 2. Subtract that out. Becomes 0. Bringing down my next number. 2 can go into 6 3 times because 3 times 2 is 6, and it's 0. Now I have nothing left to bring down, so I have a remainder of 0. So my final answer is 2 and 13/100. Okay, to multiply that to check your work, again, you're going to do the inverse. So 2 and 13/100 times 2 is 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. I have 2 place values. I'm going to move it over. Again, I'm going to start right here, right after the ones place, and I'm moving it over 1, 2, and my answer is 4 and 26/100, which matches my dividend. Okay, so now we're going to move over to problem number 4. And problem number 4 is 38 and 72/100 divided by 5. So 5 goes into 38 and 72/100. See about this. My decimal again, I'm going to draw my arrow straight up, put my decimal on top of my quotient. And now once I've done that, I'm going to draw my X and forget about it. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. How many groups of 5 go into 3? 0. How many groups of 5 go into 38? Well, I know that 5 times 7 is 35, so that's as close as I can get without going over. 7 times 5 equals 35. and I'm going to subtract that out. 8 minus 5 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. I'm going to bring down my next digit. It's 7. Well, again, I can do close. I'm going to get to 37 is a 35. So it's 7 times 5 equals 35. Again, I'm going to subtract, making my dividend as small as I can get it. 7 minus 5 equals 2. Bring down my 2. 5 goes into 22. Well, 4, because 5 times 4 is 20. And bring down my 2. And I have a remainder because it is less than my divisor. And so now that is the lowest I can go. So my answer is 7 74 hundredths with a remainder of 2. Again, to check your work, you're going to do the inverse. So I'm going to take my quotient and multiply that by my divisor. And so you can see it right here. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry my 2. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2 is 37. Carry my 3. 5 times 7 is 37 plus 3 is 38. I'm going to add in my remainder. And as you can already see that it's going to be matching. And it's 2, 7, 8, and 3. I have 2 place values to move that over to my left. So it's going to be 1, 2. Put my new place value here in my product. So I know that my product matches my dividend. And so my answer is correct. And again, my answer is 7 74 hundredths with a remainder of 2. My last problem that I had today is problem number 5. And I'm working with 437 and 37 hundredths. Divide that by 82. Seems complicated, but we're following the same format. So 82 is my divisor. And 437 and 37 hundredths is my dividend. Same concept. I'm going to have my decimal, draw my arrow above, put my decimal there. First things first. The next step, I'm going to cross out my decimal here and pretend like it doesn't even exist. Now, 82, put my multiplication sign up here. 82 goes into 4 0 times. 82 can go into 43 0 times. Do you see how I'm just putting those numbers right above? And then now, 82 can go into 437. Well, let me think about this. If 80 times 5 is 400, I'm probably going to get close to that by multiplying that by 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. Carry my 1, and that makes it 410. If I add another group of 82 to that, it's going to take me over that. So I know that 5 groups can go in equally, and that would be 410. Now I'm going to subtract out. 7 minus 0 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. Now I need to bring down my next digit, so that makes it 273. I know that going with 5 groups of 82 is too big, so now it's 82 times, well, I know that 8 times 3 is 24. Well, that's close to the 27 right here. So I'm going to multiply that. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 8 is 24. That's 246. Well, let me just double check if I wanted to multiply that by 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. That's way too big, so I'm on the right track. So now I'm going to put my 3 up here. 3 times 82 is 246. Again, I'm going to subtract that out. I need to regroup, so I need to go next door. My 7 becomes a 6. Bring that 10 over to my 1.